Hey everybody, it's kind of a vlog today instead of instructional video, but you know, this, it's really incredible to me when I come back here how much has changed, but also how much I've been paying attention to. And it really strikes me how much work there has to be done to get things back in balance. And I don't know what balance looks like. I don't think anyone really knows. The best thing I can generate or see from here is native habitat, early successional habitat, oak regeneration. We've deemed that as a positive thing, a beneficial thing. And I think that's very true because I think those are more a productive way of seeing how life reacts to wildlife and other organisms that are around us. But also, it's just shocking me how much we neglect things. And I'm guilty of had this farm, gosh, since 2014. And it really shocks me how much irresponsible and not paying attention. And I could have been much better. But there's also other landowners that have had it way longer than I have that don't care either. So you have to kind of wonder, what are we doing? You know, when I was in here Saturday trying to run that mulcher, and you saw that blackberries, my initial plan was I was going to mulch this and to get in there to kill the blackberries more efficiently. And then you start kind of realizing with this special, that without that forestry kit for the skid steer, the plexiglass, the bumpers, we're just going to tear it up. And I'm like, I'm not tearing up this equipment. That's why it's going back. But, you know, I started putting myself in the shoes of the contractors coming. We talked about having to mulch these blackberries. Could he do it? Probably. I think he'd have no problem with it. But when I'm in there and that skid steer, I'm like, I feel so claustrophobic. Like, this is not going to work out at all. And again, it's just one of those things of like no forethought. You know, you got to think about the operator, yourself. Like, imagine yourself as the operator in that equipment. And you know, what came to my mind once I realized this wasn't going to work with the skid steer, I started thinking of that new T-shirt that Cameron Haynes put out. Nobody cares, work harder. And you know, I'm just going to order a good pair of brush pants, like the chaps, to put on and just, you know, brave the storm, man. We're gonna hack and squirt with Roundup to kill these black locusts this summer. That's been a really good technique. When you have mature black locusts, just use a 50-50 solution of Roundup right after the flower petals fall in like late May, early June. Clear it at end of June, you can kill this stuff. So we're just gonna set aside time, make this work. And it's important because areas we've cleared up, the black locust is really getting out of control. And it's really a shame because you know, this could have been a really cool timber, but we're losing it. And we're affecting our wildlife, our oak regeneration. Like, you know, I'm responsible for this. You know, even forethought, God, it was 4 years ago, we had the logger come to log the black locust. And, you know, we logged my father-in-law's little timber not that long ago. And man, it's such a mess, and it's really too bad because there's so much work to be done to help maintain it, to help make it easier to get in there, maintain stuff, because when it's a mess, you're just like, I don't want to go in that stuff. And then I was talking to my biologist today about these cedar tree piles I have. I'm like, could we find a way to scoop them up with a grapple bucket and get them out of here? And he's like, dude, if you burn that 3 or 4 times the next 10, 12 years, it's going to be gone. It's not going to be one-shot pony. It's just going to be extra incentive you to keep burning. I'm like, well, one of many. Because the burning, it's just not about clearing cedar piles, not about maintenance. It's about encouraging that native habitat response. It's about encouraging oak regeneration. It's about keeping invasives down. It's about that better browse. It's about the timing. There's all these benefits of fire. And so we're just going to do some really hard things the next couple of years to encourage that fire and to get rid of these invasives. Like, look right here. Here, there's a beautiful swamp white oak right there. And we have a dead elm and a black locust that's competing. 2 black locusts, actually. And once we get this stuff burned, kill, and keep burning, man, we're going to have a bunch of baby oaks around here. And so, you know, in this video, we're talking about decisions and talking about trying better forethought, better planning when it comes to stuff. And they're all good lessons, like the cedar trees, like these ones over here. I mean, there's still more to do. There have pockets of cedars left. The big stands are going to go away in the next couple weeks. And I'm super grateful for that. But you know, the plan of like, how do you get rid of these big trees? You know, how do you utilize them? And sometimes in conservation, there isn't a way. They just got to go. And it's really unfortunate that something like, you know, if we people left cattle on here or kept fire going, these cedar trees wouldn't have, you know, put this time, energy, and nutrients into itself, and you know, it could have been something really beautiful. But it can be again if we just get to work now. So there's just a lot of work to be done. It's a beautiful farm, but it's hard to see the beauty when all around everything wants to slice you up like the downtown Chicago. It's just ferocious, and it's going to be a challenge, but we just got to get in there and get it done. And it's just lessons learned, you know. Utilize every little bit of canopy. We cut these things down for firewood this winter when they're dead. You know, utilize as much as possible. The fire will be the ultimate judge. The fire may not be the best cleanup crew, but I have a feeling we're going to have some really good little brush fires throughout this whole entire place. And that'd be new lessons. In reality, at the end of the day, you can't get everything right the first time. That's God's job. You can't know everything. You can't have the best plans. It's better to go do something and then sitting down and saying do nothing at all. Now, there's that saying, that was a very infamous saying of mine when I was younger. If you can't do right the first time, don't do it at all. And that's a really bad attitude. I learned that from my previous job at Cargill. A lot of people said that. And you know, again, I never really thought about it, but it's a very negative attitude because you have to start somewhere. You have to make mistakes. You have to. That's how you learn. And we have to forgive ourselves if we mess up and make it right. And the biggest thing about mistakes are you don't continue the mistakes. And you just start going up and you start progressing. And eventually, like, you know, you don't consider yourself a pro because you keep making mistakes, but other people around you do. But it really doesn't matter about them. You might become more valuable to those people, but it really doesn't matter about them at the end of the day. And it really just brings upon new challenges, because thinking about, I thought we could mulch down this hillside here, down over across this ditch, and I get to think about myself in that skid steer and think, I cannot ask a contractor to do that in good conscience. But it brings upon more positive things of like, how do I build a crossing? How do I make this work? How do I do this that we can make the farm? Because my goal is wildlife, but also I want to encourage my family to come down here, go for long walks and walk around the whole property. Not through this crap, you know, but having trails to walk through and keep them maintained, and being able to my kids see the progress as they get older and I get older together. We can see this progress of like being this into something that wildlife really enjoys. So there's just a lot of things to think about, and there's a lot of forethought, and some people it gets overwhelming, but to me, I'm like, this is a really cool challenge. I'm going to take it on. You know, money doesn't always solve everything. That's another famous saying I've heard for a while. It can certainly help. Having more money can certainly help, but as you have more money, more money, more problems, as the other old saying goes, right? But you know, the one thing, I'm going to end this video because I got to get going here soon. We've passed this little oak a couple times. See right there? Yeah. There he is. Let's zoom in on this little guy. That little guy gives me hope because, you know, he's going to grow and, you know, replace these black locusts. This canopy won't look so twisted. It won't look so domineering. It's going to be open sunlight, and it's going to be more than, you know, blackberries. It's going to be something that we should take pride in our turn. And for the next guy's turn, make their job just a little bit easier, and passing on those log books of mistakes and mishaps and no forethought, and try to write it down, try to pass it on for the next guy who has the next turn to listen.